Good evening, everyone. Hey, Tom.
Hello.
Happy Monday. Welcome to our episode 6 rewatch of What a Festive Evening of Andor. And happy Monday, Tom. How was your Monday?
It was a Monday. It was
Yeah?
a Monday. Yeah. It's just a sluggish start to a meh most of the day, but now I'm happy because I get to see my friends.
Yay.
That makes me happy. Yeah. I always look forward to hanging out with everyone on Monday because it's like, and not that this is a complaint, because we always joke, Aaron and I, that thank God, like, we actually like each other, because like,
Yeah,
especially like, we've been together for like, it's like, what is it, 17 years now, or 18 years, and during COVID, everyone was like getting divorced and stuff, and we were like, this is like normal.
Yeah,
for us.
This is what we always do.
That's always great.
Monday
is my favorite night of the week, if not Tuesday. Yeah, yay. Okay, well, that's fair. Any day that ends in a Y.
Truth.
What's up, Gnome? What's going on, buddy?
Reverse.
Yay. So and
Rapunzel. It's all of our friends, Tom.
Yay!
Yay! Hello.
I wanted to go see Lilo and Stitch this week because it got a lot of interesting reviews, and I looked up the like how the movie was made, and a lot of the changes they made in it that people were pissed about. It was rewritten by a team of Hawaiian writers. Like they hired Hawaiian creative people and consultants to consult on rewriting the ending of the movie, and a lot of people were complaining about the end of the movie. I'm not going to spoil it because it is different than that's the only spoiler that you'll get, is that it is slightly different than the animated film, but apparently it's more in line with Hawaiian culture, which I like that. I think that's a good thing to do.
I think that's a good thing. I haven't seen it yet either.
Woke. It's my favorite kind of thing to sound.
Wow.
He knows. Nomengarden knows.
Look, you can actually see Vlad tonight.
Oh, yay.
He's crawling towards his house in the corner.
Fun. Why'd you name him Vlad?
Because he's a Russian tortoise. And that was, 17, 18 years ago, before that was quite as problematic as it is today.
Rosa, what's up? Hello, friend. Yes, a hominum's flammable.
I've heard the new one's scary too. Like, just because of the way it's animated, it's creepy.
Okay. I mean, maybe. I mean,
for a tiny human, not for myself.
Yeah. I mean, Stitch could be a little scary, like, for sure, if they, depending on the lighting and like the sounds that he's making. I could see that. I could see that for a little kid. I didn't really watch anything else new this weekend. I played a lot of Dune Awakening, which is a lot of fun. It's pretty fun. I'm enjoying it. For those who are Dune fans and are trying to figure out how it marries into the Dune storyline, it's basically an alternate universe where Paul never becomes like the leader of the planet or whatever. So it's one, he sees a lot of futures in his head. It's one of those futures, essentially. And someone who can speak a little bit more knowledgeably on Dune than I can is our guest, who's patiently waiting backstage. So hold on a second while I bring in our friend.
Look, here comes an awesome guest.
Yay!
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Glenn the Geeky Hippie.
Much better now.
That's me. That's good. Yeah, I heard you had a little bit of a trouble there in the house today.
Guys, it was awful. I'm sure if there was video, it would be the most embarrassing thing. We had a chipmunk in our house, lived here for about 3 hours, and went from, oh, how can we help this poor innocent creature, to I will broom you to death if you do not leave my house. It was awful. It was awful.
I heard they fry up pretty well.
I've never had it.
So tiny. So tiny.
I've had squirrel before, but I've never had any other rodent.
Squirrel.
Neither of
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was at a
I have a
restaurant.
At
I
a
have a
rest.
friend who had a squirrel. His cat brought in a squirrel, and he finished it off, and he was cleaning it and sliced his hand open. Wow. Not good.
Reverse, they're cute until they won't leave your house. Like I
They
was
are
trying
really
to
cute.
sit down on my day off and play some video games, and there was a chipmunk in my living room. Yeah, and then refused to leave. Repeatedly refused to leave. Would like get to the door and be like, "Psych, coming back." That was awful.
Chipmunks are pretty cute too until they start talking, and then they just talk too fast.
Yeah.
You're hilarious.
I was also yelling Alvin at one point today.
I was just literally the next words out of my mouth were, I'm so proud of me for not making an Alvin and the Chipmunks joke. That was going to be the next thing that I said.
No, one of the like the third or fourth time that he ran back in the house, I was like, Alvin! I was so mad. Perfect, and then I was like, okay, we'll keep him. Googling, what do you need to keep a chipmunk? Because he wasn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, now we have a house chipmunk.
Yeah, no, Rapunzel, this was 100% it. He was like, no, it's great here. I'm not going back.
Now you need an indoor cat now. That's what you need.
I do.
That'll keep them out for sure. All right. So anyway, Glenn, the geeky hippie, hi friend.
All right.
1/3 of the adaptation. 1/4. I mean, yes, right. Sorry, my brain is just not here. 1/4, let's say, of the adaptation folks. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this episode for a while. I'm a huge fan of this show, and any excuse to sit and talk about it with people is happiness in my books.
Absolutely. I will talk about pretty much any of the new Star Wars any Star Wars property, but any of the new Star Wars properties just at length. And it's nice to talk to somebody who anyone who's been involved with the Star Wars fandom for any amount of time. It's a breath of fresh air when it's not horribly toxic and just not fun. So it's nice to talk to people that are nice. So
that is so true.
Yeah.
Even if you disagree about the shows, you don't have to get toxic.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to try to make the actors, unalive themselves or ruin their lives or anything like that. My cats, they like to hunt things through the windows, but once it gets in the house, they play with it. Like, it's so frustrating when bugs or anything are inside, or in my case, we get these little geckos in the house all the time.
Aww.
Luna actually once, I was like, he walked by me and something looked off, and I turn around and there's a tail hanging out of his mouth. And I was like, come here. It was still alive too. I was like, sorry, bud. And I just kind of threw him back outside.
And you know what? Like, our outdoor cat could be why this thing came inside. Because last night, I was like, oh, look, there's a pigeon in our yard. We never get birds in our yard. I was like, Alex, come look, my almost 4-year-old. And then I was like, oh, God, look away. Because it was in the yard because it had been injured by the cat who was finishing her present for us.
Okay. So, who's Glenn? Hilarious. Speaking of who Glenn is, what you guys are doing? Murderbot right now, right?
Yeah. Yes, we are in the middle of Murderbots, just as our friend in chat, Reverse BLT's channel is. Yeah. He's behind. He's keeping up, but I'm editing his old stuff for him now. But yeah, we're doing Murderbot. We're having a lot of fun with it. We're finding that we are just absolutely gushing about the show every episode, even episodes that
I've heard nothing but positive things. I have not seen it yet.
Yeah, we had an episode recently that didn't pull a single thing from the book, and it was still a great episode. And I'm like, how did they do that?
And if there's anyone who hasn't seen Murderbot, it's Alexander Skarsgård is essentially a security droid, right?
More or less a security android of sorts.
Yeah. And he pretty much gains sentience and just wants to have a life and be left alone.
Yeah, he wants to watch TV.
Okay, I can relate.
This is the thumbnail for it, and yes, it is on Apple TV.
TV.
Apparently it's fantastic. So I'm excited. I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to watch it.
It's based on a really awesome series by Martha Wells called The Murderbot Diaries. The first book is All Systems Red.
Okay.
And they're short. They're novellas. Almost all in the entire series is novellas. The first book you can read in 3 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A lot of fun.
Awesome. I'm trying to think of any other movie or TV news. Oh, one of the other big things was they officially we all are aware that they're doing new DC stuff. So, this new Superman is coming out. They've released some new information here and there. Now they've pretty much officially confirmed that there's going to be a new Wonder Woman coming out.
Cool.
And I was wondering if you guys had any ideas on who should play Wonder Woman.
Right there. If she was bigger. If she was bigger, this woman can do anything. After watching her on this show, knowing that this is literally the first thing she ever did after drama school. She got cast as this part after drama school graduation, and I'm convinced she can play any female part. Doesn't even have to be female.
She is a great actor, and I loved her in this. But I had 2 picks. And then I mentioned this to somebody else, and they showed me another person. I was like, oh yeah, she'd be really good too. So my number 1 was Adria Arjona.
Oh wow. Bix. Okay.
I was just gonna say Bix.
Yeah, I want her really bad. I saw her and I watched a couple of other things that she was in. She was in True Detective, which I had already seen, but I went and looked up her character in Morbius too, which I never watched. I never watched Morbius, which is a failed Sony Marvel thing. Right. But I would really like to see her. So she was my number 1, and my number 2 was. Did it come up? Yeah. Anna D. Aramas. She's been in a ton of stuff. She was in Knives Out. She's in the new Ballerina. She was in Blade Runner. She's
good too.
Yeah, she was in a ton of stuff.
I'm really partial to the Adria Arjona.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we know she's got acting chops, and I'm sure she can, pull off all the action stuff that she would need to do. But I really, really, really like Anna D. Aramis too. But
I did tell you who I wanted Adria to play in Wheel of Time, didn't I?
Oh no, who?
My Berylene.
Oh, right. You did mention that.
Yeah, you did mention that. Yeah.
She's also my current celebrity crush. So
okay, I could definitely see her as Berylene for sure, and she definitely pulls off the smooth, kind of political. I like the way she speaks. She can definitely pull off the smooth political machinations and maneuverings of Berylene, I think, really well. Did you guys have any choices? Well, I mean, Crystal, did you have any thoughts on that?
Oh gosh, does it have to be someone who would act? Because who I thought of just by looks was Kate Upton. But in terms of who could act it, I have no idea. Can't think of her name. She was on, this is where my head is right now because it's what I'm watching. One of the early, middle seasons of The Walking Dead. She was the one who was second or third in command. She's a blonde in the show. To Negan. She had a tattoo on the side of her neck. I cannot think of her name. She eventually joined the group, but she has a presence that I think could work really well. Let me see if I can find her.
I don't remember that season. I haven't watched Walking Dead forever. I liked Walking Dead, but I wasn't
So I've been rewatching it because I want to see the movie, and I haven't watched it in years.
Movie?
And I never finished the Return, where they find Rick in The Return. Hold on, when was the Negan season?
Yeah, I did 3 or 4 spin-off shows.
Oh, there's so many right now. I have not watched any of those.
Yeah, I gave up on The Walking Dead in early season 7. And I watched Fear the Walking Dead for its first 2 seasons, but that was it.
I watched season 3. I watched into season 3. We watched it, Aaron and I would sit and watch it. But after that, I kind of just had it on in the background. Aaron didn't want to watch it anymore, and I just kind of had it on in the background. I think the season 3 is where it lost me.
Yeah.
I didn't care for the prison or the whatever his name is, the bad guy that was the bad, the big bad in season 3.
Okay, so her name is
governor.
Lindsay Register. Is her name?
Lindsay.
Say the last name again.
Register. Like literally
register?
Register, and
Okay.
Lindsay is Lindsley, but it was Laura was her character in The Walking Dead.
I definitely can see this woman playing.
She was a good actress too. I mean, obviously she's blonde, and I don't think she's super tall, but
that's fine. That doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything. Like Robert Downey Jr. is like 5'8". And they make him look as tall as Chris Hemsworth.
Tom Cruise is what,
3.5 feet?
I know, right?
He's talking emotionally or physically? Yeah, no.
Both.
There's Lindsay. Register.
I like her face structure too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she definitely looks it. I'm excited with the direction they're going, and supposedly it looks like the new Batman will remain Robert Pattinson's Batman, which I really like, because I really, really, really like. When I watched that movie, I had like very little to no expectations. The Robert Pattinson
because
Batman
it was
movie.
him.
Well, I've always liked Robert Pattinson, and especially after I saw interviews with him after Twilight was done, and and then especially when the NDAs lifted after Twilight, he can just really talk about it. Like I respected him a little bit more after that, but like he's a really good actor. He's a really good actor.
He is a good actor. I think what was it that he was in or something like that? It was the other movie. Wasn't he in Tenet? Or what was the other big movie he was in just before the Batman?
I didn't watch Tenet.
He had just done something big that I'd seen him in, but that was the only thing I'd seen him in other than the Batman, and I was just blown away by his performance. I thought he was really good.
I thought he was fantastic. Like he became like he almost usurped Michael Keaton in my head. Michael Keaton and Kevin Conroy in my head as Batman. Like,
wow.
Because he was in Tenet, by the way.
He held his own with Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah,
and that says a lot about any actor that can hold their own in a scene with Wright is a pretty good actor.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's Kevin Conroy is always going to be my Batman. I feel like I love the Michael Keaton Batman, and the movie was great, but Kevin Conroy, Batman the Animated Series, is probably always going to be my Batman. But I digress. I'm excited. I hope the Robert Pattinson stays as our Batman, but that's not what we're doing today. We're not doing DCU and Batman.
No.
So let's go
Star Trek, right?
Yeah, Star Trek.
Yes.
Yeah. What is it?
Live long and prosper.
Brave New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds. That's it. I watched season 1. I really enjoyed it. I want to watch more of it. But no. It's Andor. That's what we're doing. Star Wars.
That's where Queen Marquise rules, right?
Exactly. It does fuck me up a little bit. I will say that it does fuck me up a little bit when I say whenever I say Andor, all my brain goes to is fucking the Wheel of Time. I can't get away from it.
And it doesn't help they have a character named Perrin.
Nope.
Yeah.
It made me so mad that they made him a douche too.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys know the drill by now. We're going to do the teleparty thing, so I'll get that going in a second for everybody. Just have to refresh my page because, of course, I accidentally left the teleparty on, so it timed out and is annoying me.
That happened.
And let's make sure I only have control. All right, let's post this teleparty link for y'all. All right, teleparty done. And then for those who are not following along with the teleparty, I will have the clock. Boop. There it is. That everyone could follow along. It's on this side. I never get the sides correct. It's over here. Oh, did I show you guys my shirt that I'm wearing?
No.
I like this. This is one of my favored Star Wars shirts.
Nice.
Yes, and the mug. If you get really close, you can see it. The mug does say "Number One Dad." Oh, that's a good one too. Is that the Van Gogh series?
Yep.
Yeah,
I've got a Yoda. I've got a Grogu one. But then I've got like 4 other black, T-shirts with the Starry Night. But one's NASA. I've got 2 Doctor Who. I've got a dragon flying over. I've got like a whole bunch with the Starry Night motif.
I really love those the Van Gogh art style ones. I have one that looks like Starry Night, but it has the moon is the Death Star, and it's made to be like, it looks like it's Andor with the Death Star like powering up in the sky, which is funny. I also have one that's Endor. Endor. Yes. So it's, the Ewoks looking up at the broken Death Star or the exploding Death Star. They're really fun. I have one that's not Star Wars, and I don't remember what it is now. I'll shout it out in a few minutes. So, what do you think about Krennic? And are you happy that they brought him back for season 2 from Rogue One?
Any excuse for Ben Mendelsohn.
That's
such really
a good
all it
actor.
takes. Yeah.
I absolutely loved him in Captain Marvel as well.
Yes. Oh, he's so good in the Marvels stuff, the Captain Marvel stuff. But yeah, really good.
Sorry. I was going to say season 2 of Andor kind of does for Krennic what season 1 of the Wheel of Time did for the White Cloaks, where he was a little buffoonish in Rogue One when he was doing stuff in Rogue One, but in this he's much more of a villain and like to be feared, and everyone seems to like fear him.
Yeah, very scary.
Yeah, and they it really kind of lends more to his character, and like especially when you see the shit that he did in Rogue One, like going to see Darth Vader and stuff like that. It's like, he seemed like, why are they putting so much trust in him, like to do this mission? He seems like he's getting everything wrong, and I think they did a better job to like rehab the image that the Empire had of him prior to him failing miserably. And for those who don't remember, I just want to pull up
I think Krennic's probably one of the most interesting of the Star Wars villains we've ever got.
Pretty good looking too.
Yeah.
For an average white guy.
It's a very nice cape.
Yeah. The and just so people know, because for years I always was like, I remember when I was a kid, I was like, why do they carry pens around in their pockets? Those are keys.
Code cylinders.
Yeah, code cylinders. That's how they get in and out of doors. That's why, when you see C-3PO putting like the little pokey thing in the door and then it spins around, that's him cracking the code cylinder. So usually they would stick that code cylinder in the door and it would open doors for them. So that's what those are. I always thought, like, what the fuck are they carrying keys around? So weird. They have pocket protectors in Star Wars. All right.
They're science nerds, Tom.
Yeah, that's true. All right. I'm going to get ready to press play. I'll give everyone a countdown real quick, and then we'll press play. We're not going to skip any of the beginning. It's gonna, we're gonna do the last time on Andor or whatever the hell they do when they recap the episodes. All right, here we go. I will press them simultaneously because I have it paused on 1 second this time and not on 21 seconds. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, and play. Should be going for everybody. Oh, it's son of a bitch. It's on episode 7. All right. Sorry, guys.
Oh, oops.
It is on episode 7 for some reason.
Also, mine was just saying, don't skip preview, and then reloading and saying, don't skip preview. So
okay. I'm gonna reset the clock and reshare the link because for some reason it was on episode 7.
Oopsies.
Mainly because I'm bad at my job, I guess. I don't know. I was watching the episode today, and I watched episode 5, 6, and 7 like kind of like over and over again.
Gotcha.
And I just probably forgot to reset it from the last time. All right, so here we go. So start the teleparty. Only I have control because we can't have nice things. All right, I'm going to reshare the link in chat again for the new correct teleparty that isn't episode 7.
I did learn tonight that you cannot sign into a Disney Plus profile with a PIN when using this. So mine has like a PIN number on it because mine has a higher age rating than my kids. It wasn't letting me sign in. But then when I signed in, I don't know if you heard the yell, it kicked him out up there. So I was like, uh-oh. So I'm making a new,
someone's going to have to deal with a
unrestricted profile.
Yeah, there you go. An aside, but only slightly. I put like a while ago. I put a parental restriction on my TikTok on myself.
Okay.
For timing, you could set it for like once you've done like an hour of it, it'll.
Oh, that's smart.
It'll. So I did that. So I can only do an hour of TikTok a day, so I don't end up in scrolling holes and doom scrolling.
That's fair. That's fair.
Done stuff like that.
All right, so I posted the link for everybody again for Teleparty. I'm gonna press play. So let's give everyone a countdown again. 3, 2, 1, and play.
Yay!
Should be good. Yeah. Episode 6. What a festive evening. We're good to go now. As per usual, I suggest subtitles.
Oh, I love subtitles.
Yeah. So Bix gets a little bit redemption this episode. Mm-hmm. Right? That's this episode. I'm not confusing that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, because that's the fucking the thumbnail that I had. So I hope I had it right. If not, then it's been wrong all week. No, it's the doctor that mentally tortured her. Yeah, I forget what was his name?
Gorst,
right? Yes. There's too many G things this season. They keep fucking me up. Gorman, Gorst. One of the other background characters was with a G. Yeah,
These
no, it's
good,
just
right. Norman Garden.
Yeah, and Glenn. Yeah, ha. But I'm very happy that she got her revenge. There's Posh Cassian, I guess.
With his mullet. Don't forget his mullet.
Oh yes, he does have a gorgeous mullet. So they filmed a lot of this in and around London, by the way, and in Spain. So when you said before we started, you were musing over where you'd want to live in Star Wars, and you said his house there. Yeah,
Davos Scanlan's house.
That's they filmed a lot of the exterior scenes in a castle in Spain, in Valencia. Ooh. For his house, but that exterior shot is actually I have so many articles open. is a section that they also use to film the Senate, and it's in London. I'll get it in a second.
Okay.
It's pretty cool because it's like it's only one tiny little piece of this huge building.
Love the opening music to this one.
Oh yeah, the score is fantastic as per always. I mean, Star Wars always has a great score.
Yeah. I think the best opening music though is the one where she's playing with the radio and it's she's scrubbing through the different frequencies. Just because it's so diegetic.
I could see it. It sounds a little bit like the Sherlock theme, I guess. I could hear it. It's the horns, not the beat. The horns, definitely. I can hear it. I really liked Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock a lot.
Oh yeah, he was a good one.
Another planet solely made up for Andor, Steerguard.
Yep.
Oh, Tom, I was going to ask, do you have a list of doors from this show yet? There were some really pretty doors.
There's a couple. There's a couple in Mon Mothma's house that are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they go to the temple where they get married, I did not make a list though. I need to go back and do that. That's I started cutting together the Wheel of Time door montage. I'm making I'm gonna make like a little montage clip of the great doors from the Wheel of Time.
This ship is becoming one of my favorite Star Wars ships.
Is that Luthen's ship?
Yes. Yeah.
Why?
It looks so neat, and just it's been pretty dang impressive in what it's been able to do to save his ass. You know, some of the way it's been souped up. You know, it's just a pretty cool ship. It's still no Millennium Falcon, but you can't beat that.
You are so corny. You are so corny.
Fucking Nomengard.
It's bad.
I have a disappoint too, and it's in Nomengard. No, it's not. I love it's both painful and hilarious. I love.
He had another one earlier, but it was like right as we brought in Glenn. I can't remember what it was. I was just like, wah, wah.
His ship, by the way, is a what did it say? It's another thing solely made up for just this. It's a Fondor Hallcraft. They say it in the episode in season 1 when he flies away. Like,
I think Fondor actually goes back to the old West End games, though. The D6 West End games.
Yeah. That planet, yeah.
I will be right back. I have to take care of something.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. When I see you pop back in, I'll bring you back in.
Perfect.
The Skarsgårds are just dominating television and movies right now. Like, it's crazy. Oh, God.
This is why I love you guys. Across the Threshold.
It's going to be episode 3, Revenge of the Knocker. Now, there's just all ways to alert somebody that you're at the door. This disagreement between Cassian and Luthen. Oh my God.
I cannot take it. Oh man.
That reminds me of
nice use of portico, by the way.
That word, I was about to say, that word reminds me of my favorite version of a door, which is a portcullis. That's the when you see like a castle gate that comes down, that's a portcullis.
Portcullis. It's a good word too.
The peephole reveals.
Come on, we need episode 2 and 3.
Was it the Phantom Menace and the Clone Wars? No, they did the Door War. No, that was the name of it.
Nope.
There's Glenn. Sorry, Glenn. I was caught up pondering over door.
We were trying to get
synonyms.
episode 2 and 3.
Yeah. I got episode 3. Episode 3, Revenge of the Knocker.
Oh, yep.
Episode 2, Attack of the Hinges.
It's a little weak. It's a little weak, buddy. You could do better than that. You could do better than that. So,
and these two are really good at speaking code.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the dialogue between the two of them was great. They had great on-screen chemistry. The chemistry, though, for the two of them was really interesting. The way like their roles seem to kind of like flip sometimes when they're talking to each other. Like sometimes, like you never really know who's taking lead in the conversation,
right?
Which I kind of like. Like they seem to kind of flip back and forth with stuff. I really
do love seeing Holmes in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like seeing, like we talked about that a couple of episodes ago. Like we're seeing in all of the movies, it's done on like a macro scale. Like it's nothing is is small. Everything is big. It's galactic problems and galactic battles and huge giant army thing. This is a micro scale, and it adds so much deep kind of lore and interesting story to a world that is so rich, but we never really explored it on screen before. Never got to see what an apartment on Coruscant looked like, or they have fucking delis in Star Wars. Like they go to that, they go to the deli in the last episode, and the way the guy talked to them really reminded me a lot of like the bodegas and the delis in New York. Because the guy was like, she was like, oh, I want whatever peppers. And he's like, oh, okay, hold on. You want it for tonight or tomorrow? Like, so he's going to pick her a more ripe one or a less ripe one. Like, it was just that those little bits were really nice. I don't know. I enjoy the little stuff like that. And this whole spycraft dirty talk, like pre-bedroom talk, was interesting. The way they're like, who are you this time?
He had to have a sexy name though.
Yeah,
Varian Sky is a really sexy name.
It is. And is it, like we talked about last week, a great reference to World War II.
Yeah.
His name was Varian Fry, the guy.
Yep.
That's the guy that he did. If you want to look him up, feel free to look him up. He was he did really some awesome stuff during World War II. I don't remember seeing anything on like the rest of his life, if he was like a good person or not, but he saved a lot of Jews from Germany pre-US entering the war.
I believe he was a journalist.
I don't remember.
If I remember what I read last week correctly.
So what do you think about the Luthen Cassian Bix dynamic that's going on here?
Luthen's playing them both, I think. He's a master manipulator. He's really good at Deus Daemar. And I don't think either of these two is ready to be played by him. But like Andor Cassian says, he knew that Bix would tell him that he was there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah.
So you think he's playing them, or he really wants Cassian. Like he really sees Cassian as like a future leader of the rebellion. So you think he's like using Bix to try to push Cassian to where he wants him?
Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder everything Luthen's up to, because as we see in later episodes, he really pisses off a lot of the leadership in the rebellion.
Yeah.
And I think some of it goes back to behavior like this. With the way he's dealing with Bix and Aunt Cassian together, and he's manipulating them. I think that's just a small example of the bigger Luthen Vale problem, that he's got personality issues that make him hard to work with.
That's fair. I think he is he's a necessary component to the early rebellion, because he's really he's what makes them cohesive. The ones that, the only people that have like that he rubs the wrong way are the more classical like military leaders that are within the rebellion, like the defecting generals and political people. Like he doesn't get along with the actual general guy. I forgot his name. That's in with Mothma.
I know he doesn't get along too well with Saw Gerrera, but that's a Saw problem.
Yeah, that's you're not giving me enough weapons to kill Imperials with.
Right.
That's the reason why him and Saw are a little annoyed with each other.
The people that I was referring to that in the rebellion that he had problems with were all senators.
Yeah, so political leaders and military leaders.
It's the senators that had fled that were on Andor. We see them in Rogue One, the same ones who are all opposed to Cassian. They're the same ones we have Cassian arguing with later on in the season.
Yeah. And that's why I really think one of the better lines is like when Mothma realizes that Luthen was the one that sent Cassian to rescue her. Like, oh, we wouldn't be able to be where we are now without what Luthen did and what Cassian and these other, like, essentially, you know, black operatives, spies, whatever you want to call them, did.
Yeah, because those senators, they just want to trust each other. But, you know, look what would have happened if we had trusted Bale's team in that episode.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have gone well.
No. And Luthen kind of constantly seems to be teetering between full evil and just, you know, what he views as necessary evil. And I think he kind of notices it too, which is why he has his little breakdown, or he had his little breakdown a couple episodes ago, which is still kind of simmering in the background. Every time it's just him and Clea kind of alone, you know, it kind of simmers back over. I think you can even see it in his
eyes now too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because what Cassian's saying is kind of getting through to him here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can see that light in his eyes. And
so are you on, if you had to, like, if there were sides here, which there really aren't, but if there were sides like Cassian's side or Luthen's side? Cassian, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, it's arguable to say that everything Luthen did is the reason why the rebellion was able to even happen in the first place. I mean, it's because it's written that way, but like, or it's like it could be interpreted to be written that way, but that is the way it seems.
Luthen did so much for the cause, and you know, if I was a politician in the post-imperial world of Star Wars, I would really be pushing for a monument to Luthen there on Coruscant.
That's fair.
I think at the location his antiquity shop was at should be.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. The Luthen Vale Museum of pre-Empire artifacts or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's enough stuff in there that would be pretty freaking awesome to see. I just remembered something that I saw earlier today when I was looking up Star Wars stuff. A new part of canon, technically, because it's in one of the newer comic books, Darth Vader comic books. It shows like Darth Vader's stuff that he got up to in between the move, like the prequels and the original trilogy. And one of the things, and actually during the original trilogy, because one of them is Vader going to Exegol, which is the planet that Rey goes to fight the Emperor in the last of the sequel movies, and they find the Emperor experimenting with Luke's hand that was cut off by Vader. So, and making clones from it, essentially, which is an old book storyline too, but that's now Legends. But one of the clones in the thing that they used, it was a Emperor Palpatine clone that they used Luke's DNA to clone, was Lord Snoke. So that was the, you know, weird messed up looking version of Palpatine that we see in the first two movies. And then that also means, since we know one of the clones was Emperor Palpatine's son, that was Rey's father. So that technically means that Rey is by blood related to at least a clone of Luke Skywalker. So she technically is a Skywalker.
Yeah. Besides, you know, and my argument is that if you've got two Skywalkers saying you're a Skywalker, you're a Skywalker.
That's fair.
I don't care what the trolls out on the internet say.
Yeah, Luke did have to fight his clone, and his clone's name was dumb too. It was like Luke. Yeah, it was LU''UKE or something. It was like Luke. Yeah, it was essentially what it was. Yeah, I didn't like Snoke either. Snoke was not a good character. Like, and that's what they ended up falling on, where J.J. Abrams' original script had Luke being the villain, like actual Luke Skywalker, which I think would have been better. and Snoke was supposed to just be like a projection, like, you know, like the man behind the curtain or whatever. You know, he was the Wizard of Oz, and Luke was the man behind the curtain when he was talking to the generals that he didn't want to know who he was or whatever.
So I have a question about this episode.
Shoot.
What they do to Cinta in this episode, is that
my
unforgivable literary error to make?
I don't know, man. Like it's
Do you think it falls on that trope?
I don't know. So wait. What trope?
Bury the gays.
Oh, bury the gays. I mean, they're not hiding them. So like usually that's a bury your gays trope, right? Like and forgive me if I'm wrong, because I don't know if like it's usually like bury your gays is usually like you're hiding them, but you know, killing them is also like a thing.
That's the one where they get in trouble for is killing off the gay characters all the time in TV shows.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like they're.
I think in the case of this story, gays died too.
Yeah. It shows that there's no happy endings in a revolution like this. Like you shouldn't hope for a revolution like this. Like you shouldn't want this to happen if it's not necessary. Like this shouldn't be something that you look forward to doing. Like there is no happy ending here, which is kind of what they're doing with that.
And it gives her one of the best scenes ever on Star Wars.
It does. But yes, I mean, like in the same vein, they're killing a female gay woman of color. So like, there's not a lot of non-white people in the Star Wars universe to begin with. Like I don't know. Like, yeah, there's a lot of layers there. You know, as a white dude, I didn't see that immediately, and you know that's partly the thing. But I'm also, I don't know. I can't. I don't feel like I'm qualified to say one way or another whether it's that, but it's definitely
that's fair.
It's definitely questionable at the very least.
Because it popped into my head when this episode first aired.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I wonder how well that's going to go over.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it isn't.
Right.
But at the same time, like their relationship was one that was kind of background, but also nice to see. Like, forget about, you know, that they're normalizing same-sex relationships on TV. Like, that's a great thing. I'm glad they're doing that. But just, you know, a piece of light in the darkness, even all the shit that they're doing, especially the operatives, like these rebel operatives, and then to take it away from her and to kill her like that, you know, really just drives home the fact that this isn't a good thing. Like, you know, this is like a very dangerous, a very costly measure that these people are taking and willing to take. I did like the scene with the kid and Vel afterwards.
Faith Marseille or Faye? Let me double check. Faye Marseille.
Yeah.
Gave a great performance in that scene, that monologue.
Yeah.
With the kid, with the guy here.
Yeah. And she sees him being an issue right off the bat. It's the younger generation here. Like this is like the warning that the older generation is giving to the younger generation of rebels. Like, we're not telling you not to do it, but we're telling you take it, you know, take it one step at a time. Don't want it. You know, like this kid just wants to get out there and start killing Imperials is what it seems. Like that's and she's warning him, like, don't be a cowboy. Like how often do you hear that also in a lot of literature and things like that, you know? She was great during that scene. Like the when she's explaining the plan and how she kind of reprimands him at the same time. Yeah. Fantastic. Vix with her spice.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of think of that as laudanum.
Oh, yeah.
That's not bad.
I mean, it's obviously not, but she's doing it the same way, you know, people would have done laudanum.
Mm-hmm.
She added that so she could do Doctor Who. That's fair. Yeah. That's funny. The thing that Star Wars is doing is the thing that I think the MCU did too early on, which was like humanize the characters. So, everyone isn't, just the hero from a story. These are real people with real lives and traumas and issues and stuff. And it's nice to see representation of that kind of stuff on screen. So, people don't, you don't have to be perfect, and, it's okay to be a little broken and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I really got from the Bix and Cassian kind of storyline. And here we go. Mon Mothma's cousin, also. That's I always forget that they're cousins. I thought they were sisters in the first season. It was a little unclear.
Bel Sartha, I think her last name is.
Yeah. The thing that I really liked about this season of Andor, especially the last half of the season, or the last 3 episodes, but the last half of the season does kind of jump all over the place. How quickly they jump all over the place, how many characters there are, and I never felt lost.
Mm-hmm.
What about you guys?
No.
I think for me, this is probably one of the easiest to follow Star Wars properties.
That's fair.
They don't introduce that many characters, at least not for me.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that there's so many characters, is that they're going to so many places, and they're doing so many different things. And then especially the Gorman, the fight on Gorman, the actual clash on Gorman, there's so much going on. There's so many characters and doing so many different things. And still, I always was able to track what was going on. I never felt like I need to go back and rewatch it, what was happening there. If I was sitting and watching, I always was able to track through it. And not something I always do perfectly when there's this many characters on screen, and I'm not like super duper familiar with everything.
I really like this theme because although I don't count the kiss in The Rise of Skywalker, between the two rebel or resistance officers, that was a peck on the lips. This is the first, I think, passionate gay kiss in Star Wars, and I like that Star Wars got that.
Yeah,
I'm sure there were people who watched and turned off. Of course, if anybody would turn off from that, they probably turned off before that scene.
Yeah. Also, bye.
Yeah. Goodbye.
A long time ago.
Yeah. Normalizing any relationship should be happening. Like, that should happen.
Yeah.
The reason why the reason why it needs to specifically made sure that we show it in more and more things is because people still have reactions like that, because it isn't just considered normal.
Yep.
The guy behind Mothma on her platform here, Erskine, originally a character from the Clone Wars cartoon.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Introduced in season 4 or 5, I think.
The guy that was there too, the Vizier, the Grand Vizier that was just leading them, is the start of the almost like religious movement that the Emperor instills in the Senate.
Yeah.
He has them basically not worship, but pledge allegiance to him.
Oh.
If that sounds familiar,
Yep.
And his ability to lead the Empire to its fullest extent.
Something Reverse BLT said during one of the episodes he was watching Andor. His headcanon for Moiraine is the actress who plays Clea. In that outfit, I can totally see it. I can totally see her as Moiraine.
I can see that too.
I mean, the blue helps, but yeah.
Yeah.
I
think she would make. Yeah, she would make a good. She would make a good a younger version of Moiraine. Like if they did a full New Spring or something like that. I could see her playing Moiraine. I know, it is gorgeous.
I love that window. It's a good window.
I don't. So okay. So then, if you had to choose Coruscant or Naboo?
Coruscant. I'm a big city kid.
Yeah.
I prefer city over country.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I had the money, I'd have a place on Naboo and go visit and summer there, but
fair.
Yeah, I've been in love with Coruscant since Timothy Zahn introduced it to us.
I fucking love Timothy Zahn's books. So good.
I was just reading some non-Star Wars stuff of his recently.
What was that?
I'm trying to remember what it was called. Let me look at my list here. Give me un momento.
Love the camera.
The I hate
Angel
this guy.
Mix.
Oh, okay. I love when they use the juxtaposition of Mon Mothma and Cassian. Like both Mothma and Cassian are on missions right now.
Yep.
Both of their missions are equally as dangerous. But here's
just in different ways.
Yeah, here's what they're doing, and here's what Mon Mothma is doing, and it's a really it's a fun thing to see.
I'll be honest. I think I'd be more scared to be Mon right now than him. Any of the people here on the street.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward who the villains are when you're out there on the street, and you're fighting the Empire. Oh, God. And here's the last time they see each other.
What episode was she in of Doctor Who? Do you remember?
I'm going to share the teleparty link again. I don't. I haven't watched this entire. I didn't watch a lot of the previous Doctor, and I've only watched like the first handful of episodes from this most recent one. I'm not going to butcher his name. I forgot how to say his name. I loved him in Sex Ed.
Wait, that's Belinda?
Who?
I did not recognize her as Belinda Chandra. Wow. Like the whole season. Like this whole last season.
Of Doctor Who?
Yeah, that was her. I did not recognize her at all between the two shows.
Let's see. Let's get a picture of her from Doctor Who. Oh, okay. I can see it now. I mean, as soon as I see her character, I can see it.
I'm blinded by a beautiful South Asian woman, so...
That's fair. Let me get a picture for you guys.
I like Lonnie. I like this actor who playing the older officer there too. I don't know what I've seen him in before, but
yeah, I feel like he always plays like a bad guy. He's got that face. There she is with
oh wow,
Nakuti.
Yeah,
I never can say his name right.
Chudy Gatwa.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. I like him a lot. Like I said, I really like him in Sexual Education.
He might be my third favorite Doctor.
Okay.
David Tennant, Capaldi, and Gatwa.
I'm a Matt Smith guy.
I love Matt Smith. I love Jodie Whittaker, but Tennant is the Doctor.
Jodie Whittaker, that's the one that I stopped watching when it was the old guy again. I didn't like him. Peter Capaldi, is that Peter?
Yeah, I liked Peter Capaldi a lot.
I don't know. It was just at the time I was watching it, it got he was too serious and too dark, and that's not what I wanted from Doctor Who.
Gotcha.
At the time. Maybe I should go back and give it another try. Oh, Baker? Yeah, Baker was... That's going way back.
Star Wars Universe has some amazing wigs available to people.
Wigs?
Because Luthen puts on a wig every day.
That's true.
And because he's got this short hair, and I mean, how many people can put on a wig at home and have it look that real?
Yeah. Look at that lady in the back. I can't take my eyes off that lady in the background there with like
her
the tall
stacked hair. Yeah. Well, the costuming in this scene is fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely. Also, these cocktails look amazing. I like the kind of. I love the cocktail glasses. This was just a really pretty episode.
I loved it. You know what I really like? I like the tables with the lights in them. I don't know why. It's just that they're really good for bar scenes. They always use them in the bar scenes.
I love the way Clea just walked right across that room, right up to Lonnie and grabbed him. It's like she's like did not give him a chance to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
I would not argue with her.
When we hear a lot of speeder sounds and ship sounds, like when they're on Coruscant in this scene.
Yeah.
All of them are taken from other Star Wars movies.
Oh, yeah.
The sound was? That's
the
cool.
sounds, yeah. All of the speeders and stuff like that.
I think one of the Roman dodecahedrons is in this gallery here.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
It's in the middle.
It's crazy that they don't know what it was for. I looked it up after you were talking about it. They don't have no idea.
They come in all sizes. They come in all sizes from like this small to like this big or bigger. And it just, and the holes are all different size on each of the faces. The one I think that makes the most sense is that it was used for like yarn for like.
Yeah, that's.
It'll be right there behind that guy, right in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
Weird.
And there's one in Luthen's gallery too. It's probably the same prop, but
maybe they're pretty good about like making their own, like making unique things for each prop.
I just wouldn't expect two of the same prop made for two different locations when they look the same.
So the thing that they're looking at there, they don't say it by name, but they reference the planet that thing comes from a planet where sight was considered a disability.
Yep.
So it's a reference to the Miraluka race or species. They're a human species, but they're born without eyes.
Nice maneuver.
Yeah. You could be them in Knights of the Old Republic 2, there was a character that was a Miraluka. And then in Star Wars The Old Republic, the MMO, you can play as a Miraluka. They always would wear like a veil kind of over their face. I think
it's telling how few aliens are in this room.
Yeah, that's the only at the Senate party where there are really any aliens.
There is one plot hole in this episode.
What's that?
Nobody noticed the blood on the floor. After she got one of the shots when she's trying to get the thing off, she's bleeding. She's cut her hand open, trying to break that open, and blood's dripping, and you see the blood about to drop. I'm sure it fell on the gallery floor.
Okay. This is the Visas Mar is her name in Knights of the Old Republic. And then in the Old Republic MMO, you can make Miraluka, but they all wear veils. Like you had different veil options that you could pick for your character when you made your character.
So it goes back to the Old Republic game.
They were very, and I think they were all very, very strong in the Force. Obviously, because they can all see without seeing.
Right.
Excuse me.
I love the ISD uniform. And I know they're a fascist dictatorship, but the ISD uniform is one of the sharpest in movies.
They do have a they do cut quite a profile in those uniforms. Yeah.
I do wonder at Jodhpurs in space though. Why do you need riding pants with those big baggy thighs? That's to make it easier to ride a horse.
Stellan creepily smiling over your shoulder. Stellan's like, and he looks like he's looking at the back of your head too, the way he's looking in your shot, which is funny.
And that's Davo's wife, the really tall one that's standing. You see her standing there, right there to the left in the blue and gold.
Yeah,
that's Davo's wife.
Yeah,
you see her in the one of the last shots of the series. She's with Perrin.
Okay. This repartee between the two of them is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's also surprising to see like how some of the senators were openly talking like, you know, kind of anti-fascist stuff with the emperor, you know, even with the emperor, and how, you know, kill happy the empire can be with, like, you know, dissenters. She is quite a operative, though.
Yeah, she is.
So, one of the other things too is he mentions before that he says this piece is left over from some other time that's like a few thousand years after the Great Conflict or something like that. He calls it. So I was like trying to figure out what the Great Conflict was, and in the Star Wars books, it's usually referring to the Great Hyperspace War, which was the original war between the Sith and the Jedi. Like before it was Sith, when it was just like a group of Jedi broke away from the original Jedi, and it was Jedi fighting Jedi, dark side users fighting light side users. Or it's a reference to, which this is what I think, because this is not the first time they've referenced the Rakata, which is another alien race. That was introduced again in the Old Republic, and then brought into the books and stuff like that, which was basically an alien race that like ruled over the galaxy pre
Doesn't the
everything.
Rakatan Empire go back to the old comics in the 70s and 80s?
I don't, not the one that, not as fleshed out as it was in the Old Republic. They may have had the name, but like, I know the first time we got to see the Rakatan as a race, it was in the Old Republic video game, because everyone was like very like
the Infinite Empire.
The Infinite Empire, yeah. They were very like, oh. They kind of look like more fish-like Mon Calamari. They look like stretched out Mon Calamari a little bit,
with a little bit of like hammerhead to them.
Yeah, yeah. I got a picture for you guys.
Okay, good. Oh yeah.
Very weird. It's a weird way to evolve, I feel like. There's our French, like that's the guy that just screams French too. The older guy there.
That guy.
They're all French actors too. Most of the extras on Gorman are French actors.
This guy here, he looks like something out of anime, I'll be honest. He looks like straight out of an anime character.
Which one?
The guy who looks like a dwarf.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I could see that.
He has a very very like perfectly round head.
Not only is this kid's overzealousness like jeopardize the mission, and like, you know, she pretty much called what was going to happen, but he literally is the one that pulled the trigger and accidentally killed this person. Like, and not only did this happen, and, you know, she died, but she didn't even get like her dying breath moment.
Yeah, she was just gone.
She was just gone when she got there. You know, she instantly died. It's man, it's a fucking dark episode, man. I'd be interested to see what you know, what other people's views are on this situation here, being like, you know, a bury your gaze type thing, or what. I'm interested to know what people think about that. I'm sure there's probably two groups. There's probably a group that thinks it's bad and a group that doesn't, which there usually
is. I worry about that every time I see a non-hetero character get killed in a show or a movie.
Yeah.
I always worry that there's going to be an outrage about that.
Yeah. I mean, you're never going to make everyone happy all of the time.
Right.
I mean, this does hurt. Like, as a viewer, this hurts.
Oh, yeah. I really like Cynthia.
Yeah. especially like and their relationship and them getting and the way that it's ending here, especially after they made them reunite and make up. Like they made up too. As soon as they saw that, I'm like, one or both of them is dying. As soon as I saw
right here's where I figure Orson Krennic would have spotted her blood on the floor, because they're standing 5 feet from where it would have dropped.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty distracted with Mon and her and Luthen. Yeah. Like Mon has been egging him on all night.
He does have the sharpest uniform in all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I love the cape. I love all the flares, the sash, the belt.
Yeah. I love any of the Star Wars costumes that have capes, really.
Yes. I like Dabo's costume here, too.
Yeah, it's okay.
But I'm also a fan of blue and gold, so.
Was this season put up for any nominations for costuming or set design or anything?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
The official things I think come out in July.
Okay.
But they're pushing for it for Emmys and stuff. Yeah.
Good.
I hope it gets Emmy nominations across the board, above and below the line.
I'm still hoping for Wheel of Time scoring some Emmy nominations.
Yep.
I think scoring it might actually get is music-wise. Costume, I think it might have gotten a nomination, but I don't know, man. If Wheel of Time was against Andor and the costuming, the wardrobe department,
I'd be glad I wasn't voting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have a hard time choosing between the two. Because that's one thing Wheel of Time definitely did right all 3 seasons, was they got costuming right.
Okay.
For the most part. I love this scene.
Yeah, this is a great scene. Like this kid is an amazing actor too. Like he does a great job here. Very believable. You could feel his emotion.
I thought about using a shot from this scene as my wallpaper, but
that would be sad.
I figured I'd leave it for the end of the episode.
Yeah. Her face, like this actor, oh my God.
She's good.
The way she delivers these lines here. I love that she also makes it like she's not like, wishing him, death or trying to kill him or anything. She's like, use this. Fucking fight the rebellion and use this as a you're never going to make up for it. Like and she even says your useless life. Like she's not giving him any praise, but she's being like, make this your radicalization moment, essentially, where you become.
And I'd argue it works.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think so. It would have been nice if we like if this was like a character or whatever from Rogue One that we see do something in Rogue that we saw do something in Rogue One, but
he does something in the next arc.
Yeah. He plays he has a part to play in the Gorman fight scenes.
Yeah. God, look at that shot.
Yeah.
That's where I got my shot from, my background. I love that.
Yeah. And especially from what we've seen of Coruscant, like it's a very obvious allegory, but like the height at which people live,
the literal height.
Yeah, literal. That's what I mean. Yeah. Like kilometers. He is literally at the top of a skyscraper where we've seen like down in the bowels, like not even like that far down into the bowels of Coruscant where Cyril lived, and the hint at it going further and stuff.
And even that's not the bowels. I mean,
no, that's not. It goes down hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. Somebody
brought up an interesting question. There's a plaza, you see it in, I think, The Mandalorian, where the tallest peak on Coruscant is sticking out of the center of this plaza. And you can literally walk up and touch the top of the tallest mountain.
Yeah.
How do they keep the air pressure breathable?
They have air. They have stabilized. They've talked about that before. They have.
I've never noticed that. In books or comics or
in the show and in the comics as well.
Okay. I figured they had something along, those shielding that they use to keep air inside the hangar bay on the Death Star.
Mhm.
Stacks of those going up every
No,
kilometer or so, half kilometer.
they have the same things that are built in the ships. They have atmospheric things and anti-gravity things that make up for the difference in altitude.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
God,
love
such
how
a
it
great
cuts
ending
to
for this.
silence.
Yeah,
I mean,
perfect.
that music's building up, and the moment she pushes the button, the sound just cuts.
It was absolutely perfect. This scene was perfect.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did it. And then this music here. This scene with her and Cassian as they walk out of here made me think of the Matrix, the first Matrix.
And every action hero flick where they walk away as a big explosion happens behind them.
Yeah. Sans the explosion. Oh no, right. I forgot that he did that.
Just not as big of an explosion.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Sure.
That
so good.
Directed by Ariel Kleiman.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to pause, or I'm going to stop the teleparty. So, if you guys are watching, it may continue playing for you guys, or not. I don't know. But we are not going to watch next week's episode because next week's episode is for next week. Yes, it is the Sherlock music again, though. I definitely hear it. The second time, it's the horns. Like I said, it's the horns. For sure. Which, as an aside, they did say that they're working on another season of that show with Benedict Cumberbatch and what's his face.
Good.
So I'm excited for that.
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman.
Got to get my Freetons right.
Oh man, he had something really nice to say about Chadwick Boseman at something that he was at recently. They talked to him about it, and he's had something. He only met him for the one movie, but he had something really nice to say. You got to look up Martin Freeman Chadwick Boseman clip or something. It was really nice. What he said. But anyway, great episode. This is really like where the shit starts to hit the fan. Like now it's going to be pretty much downhill for most of the people from here. Now this is our 1 year later moment. So like next episode is going to be a year later. Yeah. I think it's been pretty unanimous from what I've seen about how people feel about this, the way they did the episodes, like the 3-episode drop and then the time jump. What do you think about that?
I think it's the best way to have done it. From what I understand, the original idea that Disney, or at least Lucasfilm, wanted was 5 seasons of Cassian Andor and K2SO's adventures. Yeah. And they approached Gilroy, and he says, "No, I got a better idea. It'll be 2 seasons, and we're going to do this." And this structure works. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have loved to have seen what we got last season 1, and then a season 2 where it was 4 years before, and then season 3, and gotten more episodes. But compressing it into 12 episodes instead of 3 or 4 3-episode arcs instead of 4 seasons of however many episodes. I mean, it made it go by faster. It saved Disney, a lot of money, and it got it to us faster, because I don't know if they'd be able to continue making 4 or 5 seasons of Andor with what they've put into it if they had gone with the original idea, where they did 5 full seasons.
Yeah.
So
I know Tony Gilroy said it was like $260 million or something like that. Yeah, good luck.
It would have just been too much. And I don't know. I also fear that the changing political atmosphere in this country would have made this season or this last arc a little less well received by certain elements of the viewing public.
Yeah.
As I just fear that politics are going to get a little bit nastier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you are watching something, like, my favorite thing is when people who say that they align with the rebels end up not supporting end up supporting the fascists in our current government. Yeah, like
Right.
we're not quiet about that. There's no kings here. I was at a protest this weekend, so
the next 3 episodes are extremely relevant to politics today.
Oh yeah. I mean this entire season was the allegory was just blatant. It wasn't really an allegory. It was just there. They wrote it into, like, they did say that a lot of this was written, previously, but it was based on the political climate where they thought things were going, but they didn't think it was going to align almost exactly. That's what Tony Gilroy said, at least.
Yeah.
But I think it's necessary. I think I saw a study years ago on heroes from books and movies and TV shows and stuff like that end up mattering more to people's like sense of self and view than actual real people do. Like, people will view Superman as like a hero more than they'll view, like Martin Luther King as their hero and things like that, or real people, not just those two separate people, but they will view fictional characters more often as heroes than actual real people. And that's why I'm glad with the new Star Wars stuff specifically, they're making the villains more obviously villains and making the heroes less idyllic and more real, I guess.
There's a really interesting difference in what we see in real life as a hero and what we look at from fiction as a hero. How many of our real life heroes are blatant outright killers? Have killed. Most of our real world heroes save lives.
Yeah.
They don't take them.
Yeah.
But you look at who we consider heroes in movie, TV, books. How many of our fictional heroes did not kill anybody?
Very few, or none, almost.
I was trying to think of one.
Even Frodo tries to kill some goblins.
I mean, on screen, Aang never kills anybody.
There you go.
I mean, we always joked about when we were watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, like how many people just died. Like when they were doing, there were some things like, Aang would like throw somebody off like a mountain. And I'm like, that guy was a firebender. Like, he was not an earthbender, an airbender, a water. He was a firebender, and not all firebenders can fly. That's exclusive to the more powerful ones.
Yeah.
And,
but I mean, you look at our, especially science fiction and fantasy, our heroes kill.
Yep.
And as somebody with a name like that, you try to find heroes who don't kill.
Yeah.
And it's really hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's also, there's never been a bloodless war.
Yeah.
So to show, especially when they depict things like this, they show losses on both sides. They show, real people on both sides. People, some, people that don't have the entire story, that don't know everything that's going on both sides. Like, it's, then not everyone is your enemy. That was one of my favorite things in Avatar, which actually they don't do in Star Wars, which is, one of the things that they really drove home in Avatar: The Last Airbender, especially Aang and a lot of the more Water Nation people, were that they weren't at war with the Fire Nation per se. They were at war with the ideals of the Fire Lord. Uncle Iroh also talks about it a lot too. A lot of his stuff, his wisdom is peppered in there with that too. So I like that they did that in Avatar. In Star Wars, though, they go the complete opposite direction. Like the if you're an imperial, you're fair game for the rebellion, and it's a more in line with history too, especially since this was very much the Gorman thing and everything that's going on in Andor season 2. And even a lot of the buildup in Andor season 1 is like the French Revolution. That was a very bloody war.
When it comes to the humanizing of the villains, especially in the Star Wars setting, they've done a really good job at it this season. Well, this show, I don't know who I first heard say it, but somebody a while ago said that that Partagaz just has to be a great grandfather.
Yeah.
He's got to have grandkids, and his grandkids gotta love him. He just comes across as this wonderful grandfather who happens to be a nasty, evil SOB working for the Imperials.
Yep.
But
then that's not to say you should feel bad for Partagast, but like it's also just it humanizes some of the, again, the micro universe of the Empire, where it's not just you're fighting the Death Star and the Emperor and Darth Vader and TIE fighters and Star Destroyers. There's also people on the ground there that don't always deserve to get their heads chopped off. But that's the story. That's the drama of this season of Andor. Is that what do you do? There is and that was why I always liked when Luthen kind of goes between the different all the different what do you call them, cells of the rebellion. There were like different shades. Like Saw Gerrera was like way in the dark, because he just wants to kill people. You know what I mean? He just wants to kill Imperials. That's all he cares about. The overall cause is like his rationalization for it. And then there were, less violent sects, like the people on Ferrix. That's where season 1 takes place. Like they were less violent, but still willing to, fight, which is yeah. But was Partagast really a true believer, or just doing what he had to do to get by? I mean, that's a good question, Glenn, the geeky hippie Jedi.
What is that?
I don't know. Like, and then you fall under the question of, or the statement that a lot of, a certain group of people fell to when they were going to the Nuremberg trials, where, they were just following orders. So it's a messy and gray situation is really what it is. But in the long run,
remember about a lot of these Imperial officers, especially the ones who are older, is it's only been 18 years since the Emperor took over. A lot of them served in the Republic.
Yeah.
Wolf Yularen, the head of ISB, was a colonel in the Republic Navy.
Yeah.
Or Army, whichever it was.
So was Tarkin.
Yeah. So a lot of them were nasty, but not everybody who came into the Imperial military probably came in as a nasty piece of work.
Yeah.
Tarkin,
some of them were just like, they were the Republic, and then they just became the Empire, and then they had to make their choice of whether they help or hinder the rebellion. And there were plenty that chose to help and defect or defect. So that's where I would fall at the very least. That's what I'm saying. And just following orders isn't a defense, in my opinion. But there's that anyway.
In Star Wars, we're like friends.
Fair. Very fair.
The Rebel Alliance has a long history going back to the 80s of many of the characters in it were defecting Imperial officers.
Yeah. And especially in Star Wars Rebels, there's, without spoiling there's a really great storyline with that in Star Wars Rebels.
Very emotional.
I was actually thinking at one point that what's his name? Partagast. I always forget the D. Partagast might actually be a spy for a minute. Like I thought maybe he's the one that's feeding them information until we actually met that defector, the red-haired young guy.
You got Lonnie Young.
Oh my God. You know what? Maybe we'll just add Rebels to the show list too. It's such a good show. The writing is so amazing.
When you put it on the list, put Rebels, another show, Rebels, and Rebels.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. It's definitely going to go on there. It's a lot of episodes, but again, they're 20 minutes, and when we did Avatar, it wasn't so bad. I don't know. Rebels was so good. So good. All right. So now, as per usual, the end of our show is when we showcase our guest for next week. So let's see who's going to be joining us next week. It's the threefold talk, ladies. So specifically, Leah, the roof mistress herself, and dungeon master herself will be there, and then the other two remains to be seen yet. But we're gonna poke them and see if we can get more than more than a fraction of our threefold talk ladies over here to hang out with us for episode 7. Who are you? Anyone else, when you saw Who Are You, think Who Am I? From and look, I misspelled R because I'm a terrible person.
I mean, that's the sound. R.
That's fair. I kept thinking, Who Am I? The Jackie Chan movie from the 90s. Anyone? No? Okay. I love old school Jackie Chan kung fu movies. They're easily like my favorite brain. Like I call them like popcorn for your brain. Like, you know, cheap, simple movies like that. I love those. They're my favorite. Do you guys have anything like that? Like not, you know, super deep or hard.
That's what YouTube's for.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's usually what it's usually
doom scrolling.
Yeah.
I try not to do that anymore.
Me too. Yeah. That's why I've been so I'm trying to either read or do rewatching. I've literally watched from season 7 to I'm now into the final season that I never saw of The Walking Dead. I don't want to consume the news. The real world really stresses me out right now.
It does.
It scares me for my kid and my friends and a lot of things. So
yeah.
The other reason I didn't go with my dad yesterday is because I knew if I'd gone to a demonstration, I would have found out more about what's going on in the world than I know. And I'm happy not knowing. So
yes,
I'm an ostrich head in the sand.
No, that's fair. It's fair. And so, and like, and not fighting for everybody doesn't look the same. I will say that is a privilege that not everyone has to do, that not everyone is capable of doing though. And it's just, I feel important to acknowledge that. So,
my mental health right now needs it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm not saying, anything like that. It's just a good thing to recognize. And, people shouldn't feel overwhelmed and like they have to go out and physically fight or get into protest. There's other ways to help the cause, just find a way and, whatever, you're comfortable doing. I always feel like I need to just go, I need to do something. But that's me personally.
Before I had my son, I would always be down there, and it's different once you have kids. And they had put out like a couple of my liberal mom groups was like probably not the protest to bring kids to, because we've had some that's been appropriate.
I say this and I feel bad, but it's the truth. As small as a platform as we have here, I will use it to spread the love and acceptance that I feel should be reflected in the rest of the world. So
agreed.
Yes. No kings here. Trans people exist. Everyone should have rights. Abortion is healthcare.
Yep.
Black Lives Matter. All of those things. This is a safe space for everybody. And if you're a piece of crap, I'll kick you out. So that's the way that works. But back to our Star Wars stuff. So since Glenn, the geeky hippie over here, and you would be a Sentinel, a Jedi Sentinel, in like the old school way of thinking, Jedi Sentinel. Okay. So those are the ones that actually like went out and got dirty, like did the fighting for the
Protector.
Jedi.
Yeah. I'd be more, Sentinels technically, I think most of the Jedi Sentinels were back watching the temple actually, and at least in canon, but
I thought those were the temple guards.
All the temple guards are Sentinels, I think, technically.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I fall under the category of Sentinel.
Okay.
I don't know. I picked up Sentinel because part of the reason is one, Protector, but also it was the one that had the yellow lightsaber, and I like the yellow lightsaber. So when I decided to pick a name to put on my thing, that's what I went with.
Fair enough. The yellow is definitely a cool color. I've always been partial to purple since Mace Windu. But yeah, if I had to pick one prior to purple, it would have been either yellow or orange. So
I was so happy when Rey lit her lightsaber at the end of episode 9 and it was yellow. I'm like,
that was pretty awesome.
Seeing it in live action was nice.
Absolutely. I was happy just to see them start using the other colors and things like that, because you didn't always see that in in the other things.
Franchises.
So what we did last time with Joe from Twatcast was we did like a would you rather type thing, and I have a couple of would you rathers.
I have a couple.
Okay, you have a couple too, so why don't you start us off? And this is a Star Wars edition, right?
Okay, so this is very softball. This is your easy one of the two that I had. So if you were going to go out on a date Would you go out with Leia or Padme, and why?
Padme. I'm a gold digger.
Honesty.
Yeah.
The honesty. It was the honesty that I respect.
It's the same answer for why when somebody in the Wheel of Time asks the Wheel of Time, Mary, fuck, kill, my Mary is always Elaine. For the exact same reason.
Okay.
I mean, Leia's a princess, so like of a whole
planet.
But
her planet gets blown up.
That's true. That's true. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Princess, no planet.
Oh, she's Poe. She's too Poe.
Padme was the queen.
Okay.
Now, Carrie Fisher was my first crush, though, ever. So celebrity crush. So
for a lot of people,
it's a hard choice.
Did you have one, Tom, or do you want me to go?
No, you can go again.
Okay. So there's a meteor or something headed towards Earth. You have to destroy all of the Star Wars. Okay. So this is a 2-part question, except for one. You have like every entity, you can keep like one thing, one graphic novel, one thing from Star Wars. What would it be?
Wow.
Okay, hold on. While you're thinking about it, if you had to pick either The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker, which one would you keep?
Last Jedi. I hate The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. So,
okay.
I actually, if I had to keep one title out of Star Wars, it would be Andor.
Really?
Andor, because Andor is by far, in my opinion, not just the best made, but I think the most relevant to our world ever Star Wars entry.
Okay.
I think it puts to shame everything George Lucas ever did. And I love George, but yeah, I mean, Andor is just, it is peak Star Wars. It is peak television, in my estimation. So,
the thing I really, really appreciate about Andor is how like attractive it is for like a non-Star Wars person. Like, you know, like it's like the gateway Star Wars drug. Like if you have someone you want to get into Star Wars and you know, they don't want to, you know, you have trouble getting them into the whole, you know, the Force and Jedi and lightsabers and all that, like, but they like shows like this, like this is a great way to get them into Star Wars and then be like, oh, okay. Like, you know, most people I feel like know the story of Star Wars, even if they've never seen it. You know, they understand, you know, Rebellion, Empire, Darth Vader, bad things, and then like to see the backstory of some of it, and then like the nitty gritty parts before you get into like the big macro again scale, galactic scale of things, I think would be really cool.
I just wish Andor got one more season.
Yeah,
if it had one more season this good of this length, it would actually be my #1 show of all time. Okay, but with 2 seasons, it can't top Battlestar Galactica, Babylon 5, The Wire.
I mean, Battlestar Galactica was great. The Wire is fantastic, but the only thing I'd say to that is we still could get more in the future, or at least more Cassian, more stuff from that era, because they didn't show it, and we know it happened.
Right.
So like we know at least 4.5 or so years past there, and that there's a lot of stuff that happened off screen, so they could go back and show more if they wanted to at some point. They left it open, so I like that.
We'll probably see some of that in print. Comics at least.
Yeah, that's fair. Some books maybe. That would be nice. All right. Another choice that you have to make here. So you have to choose a droid. BB-8 or R2-D2?
R2. Yeah. That's not a challenge at all. BB-8 might have been my profile pick for 5 years or so, but R2 is my #1 Star Wars character.
Okay.
So I have to go with my boy R2, the most foul-mouthed droid of all time.
Except Chopper. Chopper unseated him. This is from Dave Filoni.
All right. And Chopper does have a bigger death count, too.
He does. He's killed so many people. Do you have any more, Crystal?
Yeah. So if you are going to get into a fight, would you rather have Darth Vader on your side or Yoda?
Wow.
Allegiances aside, just based on their ability, like just who they are.
Man,
that's tough.
I'm trying to think of how that fight would go between the two of them. And I think Vader can outdo Yoda in the Force, pure strength in the Force. But as a swordsman, Yoda's got it.
Yoda was really good.
I'm going to have to give it to Vader, I think, just barely.
You better hope whoever you're fighting, you're okay with dying, because Vader's definitely killing you.
Yeah. Well, if I'm going into a fight and I want a Jedi on my side or somebody with a lightsaber, they're dead. The person that the lightsaber is going after is going to die. Otherwise, I wouldn't send the lightsaber in. But yeah, I'd have to go with Vader just barely, though, because that would be a really close battle between those two.
All right. Who would you rather take out on a date? Asajj Ventress or Leia?
You are mean.
Yes, I am.
You are mean.
And for those who don't know who Asajj Ventress is, she was one of the many quasi apprentices of Count Dooku in the Clone Wars TV show.
A one-time witch,
but eventually becomes good.
She was actually a Jedi Padawan at one point in her history, but man, as long as she's got hair, I'd say Asajj. She looks good with hair. I didn't like her with the bald look. I liked her when she grew the hair out.
I always forget the name of her species. It's like I always forget how to pronounce their name.
It's the same thing. Maul is Darth Maul is.
No, she's not a Zabrak.
Oh no, the Zabrak. That's right. The Zabraks. Well, there's some weird thing going on with the Zabraks and the Dathomiri. It's like there's
is
two different.
Zabrak? Maybe she is.
No, I'm not sure. I know she's Dathomiri, but
I didn't think she was a Zabrak. Maybe she is a Zabrak. I thought she was. I can't never remember the name of the race. There's one that all of their skin is that color and they have like purple markings on their face like she does. It starts with an R and I don't remember what it is, but
it's saying here that the Night Sisters are classified by canon as a hybrid species of Zabraks and humans. The Night Sisters, at least. So, yeah, I knew there was a connection to the Night Sisters and the Zabrak, but yeah, she's badass though. Have you seen Tales of the Underworld yet?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. I was going to say if anyone hasn't seen the Disney Plus series, The Tales of the Underworld, go watch it because
you'll be done in an hour. It doesn't take long.
They're short episodes. Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
All right, do you have another one, Crystal?
Yeah. Would you rather be indebted to? Oh gosh, what was it? Would you rather be indebted to the Hutts or steal from the Emperor?
You know, I don't want no Hutts sending people after me. Anybody could be working for a Hutt. I don't think anybody could be working for the Emperor. I think it's, better chance some random person's going to be working for a Hutt. So if I had to have one of those two groups after me, I'd rather have the Emperor after me than the Hutts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
easier to hide.
My last one is, who would you rather have as your Jedi Master?
Ooh.
Like if you were a Padawan. Yoda or Mace Windu?
Mace. I blame everything wrong with the Jedi Order at the time they fell on Yoda.
Okay. It's fair. I mean, he did fail. That's
he was one of the leading powers behind the Order for centuries.
Yeah.
And all it did was decline. They
got more dogmatic. They followed more the like written traditions and like how everything was done instead of like following the Force, which is what they should have.
They should have paid more attention to the living Force the way Qui-Gon Jinn did.
Yeah. And also, Mace Windu is a hell of a lightsaber fighter.
Yes, he's actually my number one lightsaber fighter, sword fighter actually. In general, I put him higher than just about anybody with a sword. So, I did a list a while back, the top 20 sword fighters, and I think he was like number 1 or 2. I'll find that list. I'll share it with you.
That's fair. Yeah, I think he and then his lightsaber form that he uses, like canonically. This is a little crunchy, but I forgot what it's called. Something in F, but it actually uses the dark side. Yeah, and it's usually like not allowed by the Jedi, but he's so, good that maybe it's I don't think that's it.
I think it might be the pad. Might be. I'm not sure. I don't remember the lightsaber forms that well.
But Mace Windu's allowed to do it because he can resist it.
Yeah. The neat thing with Mace in the old canon, there was a book called Shatterpoint, because he's got this ability called the Shatterpoint ability, where in a fight with somebody or going up against an object, he can always tell where to strike to cause the most damage, like to make the object break. Like jewelers know where not to hit the stone, otherwise it'll just shatter to pieces. Yeah. That's the Shatterpoint. Huh. He's able to detect the Shatterpoint in opponents and objects he's trying to fight.
Okay, that's interesting. I thought the form. I thought it was like called like a number, like it was like Form 2 or Form 3, like that. Like the Jedi.
Yeah, each of them have names, but also a number. I think.
They do have like names though. Okay, so maybe it is Vipad. Maybe it is.
Yeah, whatever Form 7 is, I think that's what Mace followed. But
okay.
The lightsaber fighting styles was not something I knew well ever.
So you'd have Mace Windu. You'd be getting a lot of motherfuckers thrown at you. That's all I know.
Yes.
All right.
Besides, I'd rather have a master I didn't look down on.
That's funny. Okay. All right. Sorry. That's fair. That was. I mean, you came up a little short there, but it was okay.
Yeah.
Terrible. Right. Terrible.
So
it was just a tiny joke.
It took me. That one took me a half a second. It didn't click there for like a half a second. Well, thank you for participating in our little game there.
Thank you for having me on.
Always, you are always welcome. Like I said, I love all of you guys.
We love your channel.
Thank you, and
Crystal.
Crystal's pretty great, isn't she?
I guess we love you too, Tom.
Yay! Just to remind everybody, we will have. There was so much love at Crystal that she got disconnected. For our who we're gonna have next week, we're gonna have the Threefold Talk. Probably. There she is, Roof Mistress Leia. And we're gonna be watching episode 7, same time and place, and we're going to be getting ready for, our next show. Like we're at the halfway point. This was episode 6. There's 12 episodes. So let's start throwing out some ideas for what we should watch next, because we got to get the vote out for the show. As per usual, we're going to watch a movie in between. I'm going to put the question to our Patreon subscribers this week, whether or not, in the next week or so, because I want to keep it closer to the end of the season. But should we do a vote on what movie should we watch, or should we just watch Rogue One? Yeah, and I'm going to let the Patreons decide which way we go with that. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you'll watch your emails / the Patreon website. We'll post the stuff there. We're also going to be next week. We're going to be bringing out our first Matho question. From one of the other tiers of the Patreon rewards, which is every month you could submit questions to Maria, and she will answer a handful of questions every month, and then we will post the answers in Patreon, and we'll allow we'll notify people that if it's your question that she's answering, and then after the Patreon people get it, we're gonna talk. I'll announce the question, and her answer on a live. So if you want to subscribe to Patreon and you like those ideas and all the other stuff we're doing, including Drag 'em Out video game servers, go and check out Drag 'em Out on Patreon. Oh yes, and it is Crystal's birthday. Yay!
Are you going to be 21, Crystal?
I am 21 whole years old plus 20, but that's okay.
Forever. 21 forever.
21 plus 20. It's fine.
What day? What day of the week?
Juneteenth, actually.
Okay.
Thursday. Yeah.
So we'll
Well,
be
happy
thinking
early
about
birthday.
you. We might be going to Disney that day, so I'll
Ooh,
raise a
fun.
churro to you when we if we go.
Nice.
Happy birthday! Happy early
Thank
birthday!
you.
Make
This
sure
is a
to
great
wish
way to
her a
kick
happy
off the
birthday
week.
on. What's up?
So this was a great way to kick off birthday week.
Yay! Okay.
Yes.
Well, I love all of you guys. I love all of you awesome nerds, and thank you for hanging out with us, Glenn.
Thank you.
I think that's all we got. So, unless you have, do you want to plug anything before we go, Glenn?
Well, next week we are continuing our Murderbot. And a few weeks after that, about 5 weeks, I think, from now, 5 or 6 weeks, we will be starting over on What the Adaptation, a Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough for a while. We've got this really strange guy I know, with a big beard and no hair. His name's Thom or something like that. Oh, looks like you. Yeah, Tom's going to be on playing with us. Don't know what he's going to play. We don't know exactly what we're playing yet, but me, Tom, and Jen are going to do Baldur's Gate 3 for a while.
I have ideas.
After we've done that, Max and Bill are going to be getting ready to do some movie coverage, and then later in the season, we're going to be playing some Dungeons and Dragons on screen too for a while.
That's fine.
Our season 2 of Descend into Avernus.
Yay! I helped you guys end season 1, which was fun.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Erin wants to know what your favorite color is, Crystal.
Oh, it's purple. Second, followed very close by teal, but purple.
Okay.
Blue for me.
I'm always purple too. Everything I just there's purple everywhere. I have I even
purple
have like a blanket right now that is purple.
Yeah,
purple is everywhere.
My
All right. Well, thanks again for hanging out, everyone. Make sure to go and follow What the Adaptation over on YouTube. The link is in the description on YouTube below the video. And with that, say goodnight, Crystal.
Good night, Crystal.